Hi, guys, and welcome to Dean's Den. Today I have a very special guest, Jimbo Balaam, all the way from California.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for having me, Dean.
No problem, man. It's my pleasure. What have you been up to since we last met at SEMA?
Oh man, was that last year we met at SEMA, or was that 2 years ago?
It was 2019.
Right, because they didn't have a
Yes.
SEMA 2020. What's been happening? Moved to a bigger shop, really focused on just continuing to grind it out. Grind out the content, try to grind out the videos, the podcast, the details. Ended up connecting with a really good local shop to me that does wraps and PPF, that I've been able to just establish a great relationship with them. And they've been funneling me what I think is the best type of ceramic coating jobs. And that's ceramic coating wraps and PPFs. It's my favorite because there's no paint correction involved. And so I've been
Yeah.
able to establish and grow that relationship, which has really been beneficial, that I wouldn't really have been able to do mobily. And so it's been a big growth time having a shop and really kind of getting settled that and kind of making that my hub for all the things that I do. And it really came in clutch when COVID hit, because there was a few weeks, maybe a month there, that the whole world was kind of just unsure of what to do. And instead of, being stuck at home, I had a destination to go to and try to hammer out some work. And also I have 3 kids as well. So it was kind of, we could go to my shop and it was a change of scenery from just being stuck at home some of the time. And that's what I've been up to. How about you?
What happened with me was when COVID first hit, I had to walk away from my job at the body shop for a bit. I was doing detailing part-time and then still working a full-time gig.
That's right.
And I kind of had to walk away from it because the situation there, it wasn't safe for me. So I walked away to see what was going to happen with COVID. And then by August, they weren't able to bring me back. So I decided to try it full-time. And I pumped a bunch of money into my shop, opened it up as safe as I could, started off, and then it was overwhelming. And then I decided, you know what, I'm walking away. So I never ended up going back to the body shop. So now I just do this full time.
Wow. Good for you. Isn't that cool too? Like, it's been such a horrible time for a lot of people, and there's been a
Yeah.
lot of horrible things that have happened because of this. But there's also been, and the more and more people I talk to about it, there's been a lot of opportunity in this thing too. And there's also been a lot of good things that have come out of it, or opportunities like your story of kind of being almost forced in a way, right, into doing something that ended up being better. The more and more people I talk to, there's been cool opportunities for those that have been willing to, kind of fight through it and take some risk, in a time of, severe uncertainty.
Yeah, I think for a lot of detailers, and I'm going to throw you under the bus here, okay? If it wasn't for you and Pan and a lot of the other icons that were out there that put us in the spotlight, just everyday detailers,
Yeah.
this wouldn't have happened, because I think with the customers knowing a lot more about detailing, because you guys are out there, banging the pavement every day, getting the word out there and
Totally.
showing people what we can do, that amped up when COVID hit, because now people are nervous about keeping their car clean. You and all the other guys that are out there that are doing the videos. I didn't start doing videos, till a couple of years ago, and I was only doing it for my customers. But the fact that you guys brought a lot of detailers out into the spotlight and showed the extent of the things that we can accomplish and do, when COVID hit, it just amped it up that much more. And man, I this is the busiest year I've ever had.
And that's what I hear from a ton of detailers. I just had a call with a detailer last week that was thinking about stepping up into a shop because he was mainly mobile. And, he was telling me about his past year, and he shut down for about 4 months where he didn't do anything. And even after being shut down for 4 months, he still had a more profitable year than the year before. And he didn't work for 4 months. So it's just been very interesting, and it's been very, just a very, very interesting time. Definitely one we'll never forget. That's for sure.
The cool thing with what happened, like, it was weird the way it happened, but I had to change things so fast
Right.
that now it's awesome, because I have a Dropbox, right, which I never had before.
Right.
But I had to do it because of COVID, right?
Right.
So now If I'm done the car at, say, 2 in the afternoon, I just put the keys in the customer's car, leave it there under the surveillance camera for them. They come by, they pick it up, they throw the money in the drop box,
Never
and
have to
I'm in
see
the
him.
pool having a drink. You know, man, I'm
It's not
telling
so
you,
bad.
you know what? You can live like Hugh Hefner if you do it right. You know.
That's funny. Yeah, and that's I think it takes an eye to look for the different opportunities like that, and I don't think
Yeah.
that everyone's willing to do that. And I think
Yeah.
that's just part of life too, is changing with the times, whether it's a pandemic or whether it's just technology or just normal progression of life, we constantly have to change and evolve and adapt our businesses. And this pandemic time just made it to where that we had to expedite that. And
Yeah.
a lot of people were able to adjust. Some people couldn't because of, they were shut down or whatever. But that's great to hear that you were able to kind of adapt and even make things better and easier for yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jimbo, the one reason I think you and I get along so well is we're continuously out there pushing people to reach out and work with each other and learn the information they need. And I
Right.
wanted to ask you, what can you tell everybody about the Detailer Inner Circle?
So the Detailer Inner Circle, it's interesting. I was just listening to your conversation with Ivan LaCroix, and Ivan's been beating one of the same drums for a long time that I think is so important. I think his phrase was something like he's trying to make detailers into entrepreneurs or business
Yeah,
owners. And one of the lines that I just was listening to before we jumped on was, if you are doing detailing as a hobby, that's great. You could do a car, and this is what Ivan said, you could do a car once every 3 weeks or whatever. But if you're doing it to make a living, that's a much different story. You need to have systems in place, and you need to really focus on marketing and running a business more than detailing. And that's one thing I've said for a long time too. Knowing how to detail is great, but knowing how to market your detailing services is even better. Right. And
yeah,
so what the Detailer Inner Circle does is we focus on that. I'm a decent marketer and teamed up with someone who's a brilliant marketer. And so I handle pretty much the detailing side of things or get applicable to detailing. And then I teamed up with a guy, Pete, who I've known for a really long time. It was actually his idea for me to even start a podcast about detailing. So him and I go back to, 2013, 2014, and we just talk about marketing. We don't really talk about how to detail. We're not talking about how to shampoo a mat unless it pertains to marketing of,
yeah,
do this service to throw it in so that you can get the customer on a continuity program or a reoccurring plan. And that's at the base, the foundation of everything that we do is to get clients and then how to keep those clients and keep those clients paying you. So that's basically what it comes down to. Because that's the number one thing that I see guys struggling with is not how to detail. Because the majority of people that are into detailing already know everything about detailing. They already know how to clay a car. They know how to paint correct for the most part. They may not have 100% confidence in their skill set for all that. But at the end of the day,
yeah,
they know how to do it. But then when it comes to how do I go out there and get my first customer? How do I go out there and make, 50 grand this year so I could replace my full-time job? How do I do that? They don't know how to do it, and they need some hand holding. And when we started the Detailer Inner Circle, gosh, 3 or 4 years ago now, there was no one talking about that, or there were a few people like Ivan talking about it, but not a lot of people that had a program to actually literally pretty much do it for you. And that's what the Detailer Inner Circle is too. I mean, we show you how to do it, but we also give you scripts and emails and give you a website if you need that. Just a full-blown detailing marketing program.
yeah. Because I've seen some awesome detailers that are out there. Like, if you're passionate, man, these guys are artists. I've seen them do beautiful, beautiful work. But
Mm-hmm.
like you said, they don't know how to market themselves and they don't
Right.
know the business aspect. And that'll kill a business so fast. I was lucky because I went to college first year and actually took business.
Mm-hmm.
So I took introductory to business before I went on and took on other things. But that little bit of marketing and
Yep.
accounting and a little
Yep.
bit of economics, it made a huge difference.
Totally. I
And
mean,
it's
that's,
so
yeah,
important.
it's so important. And you just hit on another great thing of accounting and taxes. And, one of the biggest mistakes I made, not keeping track of client information, name, number, address, services that they had performed. And so that's another drum that I beat really hard too, is just the more information you keep on your clients, the better, because you could always dip back into that. I mean, Facebook ads are great, Google ads are phenomenal, but those are all for getting new customers. It's a lot easier to resell to an existing client than to get a new client. So if you have their information, you can call them, text them, remind them, email them, send them a postcard, send them a letter. There's all sorts of things that you can do once you have their information.
I listen to your podcast, usually try not to laugh, but this is the only time I have time to actually listen to it. When I'm doing my household chores at night, like when I'm doing dishes
There you
or
go.
folding towels,
Yeah.
whatever. And when I'm doing the dad thing and the husband thing.
Yep.
But I'll listen to the podcast, and the one thing I noticed that we're both totally parallel with is that we both preach about focusing on your own service and being unique.
Yes.
Don't worry about what everybody else is doing.
Yes.
Because the
100%.
word of
It's
mouth is the best piece of marketing you can get.
by far. And if you just follow what other detailers do, you kind of blend in with everyone.
Yeah.
It's hard to pinpoint what makes you different from everyone else. So I, and Pete as well, really encourage guys to kind of look at other industries and then apply it to detailing, so that you kind of have a fresh approach to it all.
Yeah, the one reason I wanted to do this joint podcast with you today was because I wanted to put it out there as a very strong message to everybody that when you join up with somebody, it's a lot better than working against them because you both benefit.
100%. 1+1 = 3 sometimes.
Exactly. Andrew St. Pierre, he came to me just over a year ago as an apprentice, and he was shocked that I took him on. But it was the smartest thing I ever did because him and I are trading work back and forth.
Yes.
He just took on a line of product for
Okay.
himself, and I do Masterson's here.
Yep.
We're sharing it back and forth, so we both cut our supply cost in half.
Yep.
And we're promoting each other. Like he sells my product on his site, I sell his products on my site. It's just huge. When you work with somebody, you're so much more successful.
100%. And that's something that I found out too, because I really struggled hiring people. And I think part of it was it's very difficult to be mobile and hire people to go out and be mobile for you. I can see how it's a little bit more controllable if you have a shop. But when I was 100% mobile, what I decided to do, and it worked extremely well for me, was I just teamed up with another detailer that owned his own business. And I would have him come out with me on my jobs, and we would split the job. We'd split the work, we'd split the money. And that was, we both made less money than normal, but at the end of the day, we got through the job quicker than half.
Yeah.
So we were able to just fly through these jobs, which made making less money not as bad. And also, we weren't as taxed after the job, and we could take on more work. We could get through more work. We could take on nastier work, and we could charge a little bit more for that nasty work but get done sooner. That worked out great because I didn't have to double check his work. I didn't have to tell him what to do. He knew how to vacuum. He knew how to shampoo. He already knew everything. And so that was teaming up with the detailer was great. And it sounds like you just did the same thing. It's great. And a lot of people don't like that because they're like, well, I'm going to make half the money. And it's like, yeah, but you missed the point. You do have to work. It's like, it's actually great.
Yeah. For anybody listening out there, Jimbo and I actually, in the first 10 people to start up the Detailers Guild group on Facebook,
That's right.
We started that group. And as soon as I mentioned to Jimbo the whole idea of the group, he jumped in right away. And I can't thank you enough for that because right now we have 2,300 passionate people in that room that are positive. They all help each other. And,
That's awesome.
it took a little bit at first, to, keep a rein on it. But now we have a really, really good group of people in there. And it's all about helping each other because you know what? We're not competing with each other. We only compete with ourselves.
100%. 100%. And Dean, it's been awesome. I will say it's been awesome since we met to see just all the things that you've been doing from the Detailers Guild to taking on, Mastersons to starting a podcast. I mean, these are not easy things to do. nor are they necessarily cheap things to do either. So it's been awesome to see your progression and see how you're just killing it and taking risk and going after it. It's been awesome. Mixed in with some drinks in the jacuzzi, so it's good to see that you're finding that balance. But I even think you got
Yeah.
your sons involved too, don't you? Or you did?
Oh yeah, yeah. All three of my boys have actually worked for me at some point. None of them have any debt. They all have
That's
money in the
awesome.
bank. And my oldest boy paid off his tuition, bought
Wow.
himself a car, and he's moved out on his
Wow.
own.
Wow.
So
Yeah, so you're setting a great
it's, you know
example as
what?
well.
Well, Jimbo, I want to say to you honestly, you inspire a lot of people to, pound the pavement even harder. Anybody that's successful, it's so important you share your story because it drives so many more people. And if anybody
Right.
out there has been helped by Jimbo or any of the other icons that I follow or Jimbo follows, please just take 2 seconds and give them a comment, a thank you on a
Mm,
video that they put up or even your podcast. Just put a quick thank you very much, because a lot of people don't realize how much work is involved at our end. And,
right.
we love doing it just to do it, but it is a lot of work. And then when somebody goes and thanks you for it, it encourages you even more to do more.
100%. Yeah, because it does just like anything, it becomes a grind, and sometimes it can be lonely. It's like these
Yeah.
conversations are great, but then after this it gets edited and then you got to post it and it's a lonelier process after you get off the phone. So it is always encouraging sometimes in those moments when you're just kind of like hanging out, by yourself editing a podcast wondering if anyone's going to even care or listen, and then you get a
Oh, yeah.
message of how you've really helped someone and you're like, oh right, that it's like it's gas in the tank. helps you
Yeah.
to helps you to keep going, and it means a lot.
Yeah. One of the things I did recently, Jimbo, I don't know if you've seen it yet. I did a little comedic video called Married with Detailing. And basically what it is we're the only ones that understand each other. Detailers
Right.
only understand other detailers. And
100%.
like I love my wife. I love my kids, but they don't get it. Like my kids
Right.
detail to make money for school and stuff, but they don't understand. I mean, we only understand each other, and it's great because when you get together in the detailing groups or you reach out to somebody through YouTube or whatever, it's
Hmm.
counseling for us because we all stick together and we help each other.
Totally.
And there's a lot of mental end to this, to doing this job too, because you're scared. I mean, because we
Right.
never know. There's no guarantee. Somebody's not signing our paycheck every week. There's
Right.
no guarantee that the paycheck's coming. And when we stick together and encourage each other and help each other, we can help stabilize that income so that we can keep it coming and we can all be successful.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well, you know what, man, I love having you in my corner, and you know that I'm in your corner 100%.
100%. No, I love it. What are you looking forward to most this year? Do you have any, obviously you don't have to get into numbers and figures and stuff, but do you have, other goals or any, things that you really want to hammer out in this coming year, 2021?
Well, the one thing I'm going to work on, Jimbo, it's my little side project is the actual Detailers Guild website. The reason I wanted to do that is I want to eventually turn that into a Detailers Guild fund.
Oh,
So
okay.
I want to, yeah. So what I want to do is control all the advertising on that site so that we can use that money to benefit people that get in trouble. Like last year, I made a donation to put it out there because he knows and everybody knows Tim House in Alabama was wiped out and lost everything. They were renting, they lost their place of residence, they lost all their equipment. So, I was one of the people that helped get the word out there that he needed help. And Aaron Knox was the very first one to reach out to me
Hmm.
and asked me if he could post it. And I said, by all means. So he posted in the Detailers Guild, and I got in there and put a few posts out. He ended up getting so much response in equipment and supplies that he actually turned around and gave that out to other detailers in
Oh,
Alabama that
wow.
were wiped out. So
Wow.
that's when I realized that we're onto something here, and that's my goal. Is I'd like to set up a fund where
Hmm.
we're not paying for it, but the advertisers to the website would be paying for that.
Right.
So
Love that, Eddie. That's
eventually that's
awesome.
my goal. Yeah.
That's great.
It's a tough goal, Jimbo, because it's a lot of work. I mean,
Yeah.
to build a platform that kind of works like Facebook,
Hmm.
but that we control, and because it would eliminate a lot of privacy issues. It eliminates a lot of selling of information, which a
Right.
lot of us don't really appreciate that.
Right.
But it would just be a site where we can go and gather and talk about stuff, and the advertisers would advertise when we get the numbers up on the site, so that they're paying to contribute to these people that are definitely in need of some help.
Right.
So that's my biggest goal for next year.
That's a great idea. Love that. That's
Well, I know I
awesome.
have a lot of friends that'll help me too when we get to
Yeah.
that point. So, no, because I was even thinking of doing like a couple of in rooms, like where like, and Colin's working on this right now. Colin Thompson is my web designer. He's an awesome guy. He's done a lot of work for me. Colin's trying to set it up so we can actually have a chat room, so
Oh,
you
wow.
can go in there and host a chat,
Okay.
and people can talk to you one on one for about an hour or whatever time you
Oh,
have.
wow. Wow.
So yeah, and we can have different guys like Rick Vanderlee from Angel Wax, and get Darren
Hmm.
Priest in there if we can get him.
There you
Get
go.
some different
Nice.
people in there. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. And that's the thing. Like the more people we drive to the site, the
Right.
more advertisers we would get, and all that money, like 75% of all the money that's brought in, would go directly out as a fund, and the other
Wow.
25% would be used to maintain that site and keep it up
Sure.
and running. It's a hell of a lot of work. Like Colin's been ripping his hair out just getting the test site up. You
Right.
know,
Yeah, that seems like a ton of work.
it is, but yeah, like I mean, it'll be cool. Once it gets up there. What
Love that.
what goals do you have, my friend? I haven't seen your garage yet.
Oh man, yeah. Well, that's one of them is get that organized to the point where it doesn't look like just a working shop, and it looks
Yeah.
like a a studio shop.
Okay.
So that's part of it. Also, to be honest, I've been slacking on doing podcasts a little bit. I absolutely love them when I do them, and sometimes I just have a hard time putting the microphone in front of my face and doing it, but every time I do, I just or have calls like this, it's super fun for me and super encouraging. And so, but I've just honestly slacked on doing them the past 6 months or so, and kind of put more of a focus on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think this year I'm going to switch that up a little bit and focus more on the podcast, and maybe integrate some video podcasting and do that. Still do my videos and still do that, but just put more of an emphasis on the podcast, just because YouTube is honestly a little bit more draining for me, whereas the podcast kind of fills me up a little bit more. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much my focus for 2021, is just to do that, as well as kind of just maintain and also systematize a little bit better, so I have more systems in place to free up some time. It takes a lot of energy just to try to think of thoughts to create stuff, kind of creating that margin in life too, where you have a little bit of downtime to be creative and think of new things as well. So my thought is, if I focus a little bit more on the podcast, which I enjoy more, and then also continue to work on having systems in place to either automate or maybe hire someone else to help me do the things I don't like, it'll help me free up time to be more creative and then create better content even.
Yeah. The one cool thing about doing the audio podcast is, like, as soon as we come up with an idea, we can sit
Mm-hmm.
down in our pajamas or whatever, and
100%.
bang it out. And like right now, I'm sitting here in my jogging pants and my toque. Okay.
Yep.
So you know,
Totally.
I am
No, that's
Canadian, right? So
love that. And
anyways,
that's
it's
no,
cool
and
though
that's
that
why it's great. And that's why I started
yeah,
an audio only podcast, because I was like, you
yeah,
know what, for those exact reasons of like, I don't have to put makeup on, and get ready
yeah.
for the camera. I can just, like you said, I could be in my birthday suit and no
Oh
one will
yeah,
know the difference, you know?
oh yeah, yeah. You could do your
So
podcast from the tub.
100%,
Yeah,
100%. And
especially
that's,
now with this
yeah,
app, eh? We got the phone. It's pretty cool. Like right now, I'm sitting in my studio,
yep,
and the thing I love is, okay, I've got your information up on two different screens. Okay, so I kind of have reference here,
right.
so it makes it a little bit easier for me, because I want to make sure that whenever I have a guest on, that I cover stuff that helps promote them, right? Because that's the whole
Sure.
purpose of us getting together, is to help each other.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's so much easier doing an audio podcast. Like when I
Yep.
was doing the live ones, we were doing live ones before COVID hit. My friend Dell and I did a couple,
Okay.
and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Editing all the video and stuff, it's a lot
Right.
of work. But when you're just editing audio, it's half
Yep.
the work. It's still
Totally.
work, but it's only half. It's not as
Totally.
bad.
No,
Yeah.
totally. And I think, like you referenced earlier too, video is great too, but you have to, in order for someone to consume it, it's the
Yeah.
only thing they can be doing, right?
Yeah.
Versus a podcast or audio, like you said, you could be doing dishes and do it, you could be doing the laundry, you could be doing a car. And that's, I think more and more people are catching on to that of, hey, look, I can multitask, and that
Yeah.
was kind of the thing that happened to me way back in 2014 is like, wow, I can be working on cars, making money, but also learning at the same time. I almost felt like I was cheating, and it was like, wow, this is cool. Like, this is where it's at. So I think that's a big advantage that audio has over video that is just kind of starting to come to light and people realizing.
When we're done this chat, you and I can both download this right from the app.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Okay.
And it's very clean. So we can download as an MP3 or MP4, whatever you want.
Oh, nice.
You know what? This might open some doors for you, Jimbo, because it's so easy to use that you can reach out to any detailer that has a phone, and you can do a Q&A with them at any time.
Totally. That's what's awesome about technology, just like this app coming out, because I remember when I first got started trying to get people on Skype, and then I would have to make sure I was in front of my computer, not having any errors, and then trying to get them on Skype. It was a big barrier. People would say all the time, can you just call my phone? Can you just call my phone? And eventually I could through Skype, but up until then, it was not easy to have people to interview them. And this is like dummy proof.
One of the coolest things is we can reach anybody around the world now. I actually have a podcast coming up later this week with Luis Ferreira from Mexico.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he's in Tijuana. He's the big shot for the Detail Warriors.
Okay. Got it.
So he's the head honcho. So, it's pretty cool because you can reach out to these guys and it's seamless and it's clean on both ends. Yeah.
Right. Because that's another important thing too, is there's nothing worse than listening to a podcast and the audio sucks, or one guy's louder than the other. And so this app kind of regulates all that. That's huge.
Yeah. We started using Audacity at our end to clean up a lot of background noise. Like I have my microphone on right now and I'm doing a backup of this just in case anything gets lost through the phone. But yeah, like I was stunned at how awesome, like even the free software that's out there, how good it is today.
Right. Yep. Oh man, I remember the Skype to Audacity days. I lived in Audacity, man, to Libsyn and all that fun stuff. But yeah, awesome, man.
Anyways, this has been a lot of fun. I know we have limited time today because you're expecting a call in 18 minutes. I'm watching the clock.
Yep. So I apologize for moving the time on you too.
Well, you and I had to jump around because we were originally supposed to do our podcast 2 hours from now, but we got dumped on just as bad as Texas, which, and even where I live, this is not normal. Like to have a foot of snow outside right now, that's not normal for where I live.
Because you're in Pennsylvania? Are you in?
No, actually, we're right across from Detroit.
Detroit. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so we're the most southern part. If you go right along the latitude line, parts of California are the same as where we're at.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That's how far down we are in Canada. Like we're the lowest point in Canada.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So but you always normally get snow, just not usually this much?
We get snow, 6 inches max.
Got it. Okay.
Like, what's outside is just insane. And here we have, like on my vehicle, I have Toyo Celsius all-weather tires. Okay, so if it gets really bad, I can still drive in it.
Right.
But the poor people down in Texas, they're on summer tires and they're high-performance rims and everything else.
Right.
And when this happens, oh yeah, like for us to hear a rumbling at 3 a.m, we know it's a snowplow. But they're going to be out loading their shotguns, figuring something's going on. It's
do they even have snowplows there?
That's for granted, Like here in our area, the city actually sold off all the snow graders and the big dump trucks and all that. They sold all that stuff off. So we have guys with pickup trucks with plows that they subcontract to when the weather gets bad.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So yesterday, anybody with a pickup truck was out on the road with a plow on it
Got
trying to
it.
help. So it's funny. Like we have areas in Canada, like where Ottawa is in Montreal.
Right.
6 feet of snow in the season is normal.
Right.
But
Right.
here where I'm at, that's not normal.
And you got more on the way?
Yeah, we got more coming tomorrow. So that's the thing. Like we had to kind of schedule our podcast. So I've got 45 minutes to get to my son, which is usually a 15-minute drive because I got to bring him home from work.
Oh, wow.
And the weather's so bad, my Maxima is not going to cut it because I'd be plowing snow. So it's too low to the
Right.
ground. I love the car, but it's not too practical, right?
Right. Sure. Right.
So I'm taking the wife's Equinox with the 4x4 today.
There you go. Nice.
That's on
That was one thing I on my last truck when I bought it, it was like a requirement that I have 4x4, not because I, obviously live in California, but we can go to the mountains. That's only an hour and a half, 2 hours away where there's snow and stuff. But I just had the thought of like, I don't really want a car that I could ever get stuck in. I want to be able to, I want a versatile car that I can, of course, I feel like if you have a truck without 4-wheel drive, it kind of like defeats the purpose of having a truck almost. So I almost got embarrassed that I had a 2-wheel drive truck, but that was one of my main requirements of like, no, I got to have 4-wheel drive.
Well, once you get 4-wheel drive, even SUV or truck, you never go back.
Never, huh?
No, you like that security. I'm telling you right now. We had a Jeep.
Yep.
And before we got the Equinox.
Yep.
But the Equinox, and I'm not trying to bash Chryslers, but the Equinox with the turbo 4-cylinder.
Yes.
It's so good on gas.
Got it.
So, yeah, that's one thing. If you're looking at these SUVs, some of them are just awful on gas. They've gotten better, but that's one thing you want to take into consideration because once you drive it off the lot, it's your problem.
Yep. No, totally. My wife, our first go at a 4-wheel drive, we had a Jeep Commander before they stopped making those. It ended up kind of being a turd, but we were up in the mountains one time and it just dumped a ton of snow and we were with a group and like their van ended up getting stuck and it was just kind of a nightmare. And we were the only ones with 4-wheel drive. And so we were able to cruise around and help people. And it was in that moment that I was like, I will never not have at least one 4-wheel drive car in the family. I'm like, this is so versatile. Even a place where we don't get weather, I'm like, I want to know that I can go to weather and be fine. And I did cables and chains one time and I was like, I'm never doing this again. This is horrible.
We had flooding here a couple of years ago. And after that happened, and I mean, the streets were washed right out. It looked like Louisiana or somewhere way down south where they get tons and tons of rain. We had 2 feet of water in front of the police station down here. Like, it was just nuts. Eh? Yeah. After that happened, I told the wife, hey, we're always going to have an SUV in the family because you got to be able to get around. You can't, you can't stop life because of flood or whatever.
Totally. Yeah. Options. Having options is always where it's at, and that applies to detailing too. You got to diversify your services a little bit and give your customers options and have options in your business so that you can, when downturns come and, things happen, whether it's a flood or snow or COVID or whatever, that you got options to be able to press on,
Yeah. Jimbo, I wanted to ask you, do you have your own line of gear? Can people get Jimbo detailing hats and shirts?
I don't. I have a little website called jimbodaily.com that has some of my like detailing essentials. I actually get quite a few requests for like Jimbo's auto detailing gear. So it's actually something that I've thought about doing, just some shirts or hats more of recently because I do get some of those requests. So it might be something that I dabble with in the future.
If you do it, let me know because if you need a Canadian hookup, I can distribute your stuff out of here. It's a lot cheaper for me. Yeah. Well, that's one cool thing. If it's material, it's easy for me to get it across the border. Product is a little bit different. I'll put this out there quick. I had a little issue with ammo. I love Larry's products. They're fantastic products, but they had a little bit of a fit at the border because the package said ammo on it and it sat on the customs dock for almost a week. So I called Larry. Larry was really cool. Larry went and he sent them a manifest copy and got it freed up and I had it the next day. I'm only a day away from the border. Like, like when you're sitting there, they ship it the same, like within a couple hours, I get it right to my house. But yeah, whenever you're shipping stuff across the border, if it's chemical or I got a tornado gun one time from Texas, I got that in 3 days. But then when I got the order from from Larry, and Larry's in New York, it
Right.
was still 10 days and hadn't come across. Eh?
Oh my gosh.
But and he apologized to me. Larry's really cool. He said, through email, he said, "I'm really sorry." He says, "I totally forgot," because he ships so much stuff all over the world.
Sure.
But when you ship it to Canada, because we have, we're so tight on the guns and stuff like that here.
Got it.
They held it. Yeah, they held it because it needed to go through further inspection. Eh?
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
But yeah, any clothing stuff is a piece of cake. Like if you ever want to ship stuff around in Canada, I can definitely help you out with that.
Definitely
it's easy.
Keep
we
that
can
in
do
mind.
a drop zone. That'd be cool.
Definitely gonna keep that in mind.
I had a blast today, and
Same here.
I wish we could have covered more stuff, but I know you got to get off of here soon. So I'm gonna wrap my show up, and then you can do a wrap up on yours.
Yeah. I'll record an outro separately.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for listening to Dean's Den, and Jimbo, as always, thank you very much. And please reach out to Jimbo and thank him, because he does so much for the detailing community. And you know what? If it wasn't for him, a lot of us wouldn't be getting the recognition, and most importantly, the money that we're getting. Because when I've got Jimbo playing in my background in my garage and the customers see him doing something, that's exactly how it works, man. I think I sent you a picture of that, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
And it works if you have your own shop and you're playing, your icons videos in the background, and the customer sees you doing the same thing on the car, the price just went up, and it validates the price. So anyways, thank you very much, Jimbo.
Is this a good part of the show where I should give out my address for commissions for all that kind of stuff?
Exactly. No, seriously, right now. No, man, I'm not joking. Plug your website, plug your channel, put all of it out there so people can find you, because that's the most important part of doing these shows.
Super easy. Just autodetailingpodcast.com. If you go there, you can redirect to my Facebook page, my YouTube, my Instagram, everything. So I try to keep it as easy as possible. Just autodetailingpodcast.com. Or you could search it anywhere. If you're on Instagram, you can search that, or YouTube or whatever, and I'll pop right up.
Yeah. And I just want to say, Jimbo, you're exactly in person what you are in your videos. For anybody else that has never met you, you're one of the funniest people I've ever met, man. Oh man, I still laugh. When we met at SEMA and you yelled out to Luke Wilson, "Hey, it's Luke Wilson." And you and I were the only two that got the joke. Right. Because we know each other, right?
Right.
But a lot of people that were there, they don't know you're my icon, Luke's my icon, we're each other's icons, but outside of our group, a lot of people don't know who we are. If they're not detailers, they don't know who we are. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was funny. That was a great time.
It's fun, man, because like even when you get this status, and you couldn't walk in a room full of detailers without people knowing who you are. But you can go shopping, or you can go anywhere else. It's a little more low key. Like you can walk around kind of invisible a little bit.
Yeah, it's not. It's always awkward when I go to the mall and I just get bombarded with fans. It's never fun,
People asking for your autograph.
Yeah, just my arm gets tired from just signing so many autographs.
Yeah. Anyways, Jim, it's always a blast.
It's always fun.
I know you
love these.
I know you got to get going. We'll have to do this again, my friend.
Let's do it. I'm up for it.
Yeah, you know what? Let's
my goal.
Maybe in a month, if you're not busy, we can compare notes and kind of do a spring opening show and compare marketing techniques that we do for getting opened up in the spring and get some people making some money out there.
That'd be awesome. Count me in.
Okay, my friend.
I'm up for it.
All right. Thank you very much, Jimbo. All right, man. I'll get this edited on my end. You can edit it on your end however you like, and I'll always see you through Messenger anyway. You take care, buddy.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
You got it. Thank you.